All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show. Not sure exactly what I'm going to call this podcast, but I think it's going to be called Always Have Your Friends Back. And the reason I bring this up is because I was just talking to my oldest and closest friend. And I realized, now that I'm going to be 52 years old, how he always had my back. He always believed in me and always made me feel better and built me up and truly always really built up my confidence for some odd reason. We met in first grade, and he was a lot bigger than me throughout most of our life at the beginning, throughout grade school, middle school, and then high school. But then after we graduated, then I gained 80. I was probably, we both, let's say, graduated high school at around 135, and then before you know it, I'm in 240, 250. I just got a lot bigger. And for a long time when I was younger, he was like a protector. We were two Italians that our parents moved to the suburbs. My family's from Chicago/Cicero right there, and his family was from Taylor Street. And he also has a younger brother who I consider one of my closest friends as well, because I knew him in kindergarten. And us three were together at different times of our lives, but I was always with, my buddy. And we would, throughout our life, I was little and like a little runt, but he always knew my potential. And he's an incredible athlete for the genetics he was given. He's just a lion. I'm not kidding. He never gives up, and he tries so hard. He just was not given the genetics, say, like myself, to a certain degree. Not that I have superstar genetics, but he's extremely coordinated, and it was just always somebody that I was kind of looking up to as well when we were younger. But as we even got older, and he was even in a couple of my films, and then we've done so many things together throughout our life. And what's amazing is when you have somebody like that in your life that always believes in you, that doesn't mean you're not going to rag on each other, make fun of each other, and do all the stupid things we all do. But, if you're someone out there, you may have one of these friends, but then again, you may not. And what I think men, I should say, and women, is a lot of times you can be that person. He never even realized that he was that person to me. And I don't even know if I'm that is good to him. I don't think I am. I moved to Florida at a young age. And he used to go around and goes, "You left me, you asshole." I've always, for the most part, kind of been very flaky, where he stayed in the same neighborhood, does the same things, and, but he always was one to stay in touch. Now, of course, when I'm in Chicago, I'm going to be with him a lot, but he'd even come to Florida. But he was just always somebody who never lost touch with me, and he wouldn't also let me lose touch with his family or a lot of other friends that we grew up in grade school, middle school, and then we went to different high schools even. But even when I had a 50th surprise birthday party, I didn't know about it, he brought in some of our old friends, which was amazing. And even when when my daughter got sick, he did a lot helping her with bringing a lot of people in. They had a big gathering, and that was amazing. Now, we have a lot of family members a lot of times, and, it's expected that we all help one another, right? Even maybe coworkers and stuff. But I do think with a lot of friends over the years, we just lose touch with them. And I think a lot of times, depending on where you're living at that point in time and what situation you're in, you have certain friends maybe in grade school, and then middle school you may have different friends than high school, and then college even. Then there's a different group of friends a lot of times. Even if you don't go to college, then you may start hanging out with people you go to work with. Then you get married a lot of times. You have different relationships or friendships with people. Then you have kids a lot of times. Now you're hanging out with those couples that have kids, that your kids hang out with. And all these different phases of friendships. But if you really sometimes look at a lot of your friends, like especially ones you've had for long periods of times, it's one of the probably biggest blessings you can have. And I think sometimes we undervalue our friendships. And I think too, you just lose touch. But a lot of times by losing touch doesn't mean that either one of you is not interested in each other's lives, or that you don't still love one another and you still don't want to hang out together. Just things happen. And things change, because even when I was in Chicago, even going to high school, and then I was coming to summer schools in Florida, or summer school, I was hanging out with different guys. And then when I came to move to Florida at 18 on, I was mainly hanging out with a lot of New York guys because a lot of New Yorkers moved to Florida, obviously. So I was kind of hanging out with a lot of Chicago city guys. And then for the most part, and then I was hanging out with a lot of New York, I guess you could say Brooklyn or whatever. I think, they're from all over parts of New York. Maybe even Jersey as well, some Boston. Hung out with those groups as well. And I never lost touch with my oldest and closest friend. Thank God, even on the phone, or even though we started to live different lives, he even took on a totally different approach as far as what career to go that had nothing to do with me. And then even later, it was just, I want to do a podcast on this because I don't think people realize, again, how important their friendships are. Because I talk a lot of times about friendships when meeting women, how a lot of men just should learn how to be friends with women. But the same goes a lot of times with men or women, just valuing your friendships. If you have people out there that you are very good friends with, it may be time to reach out to them. And a lot of times they're waiting for you, because I think a lot of times we're like, oh, I lost touch with him. He didn't want to be bothered with me, so I didn't want to be bothered with him. Or we just lost touch. The phone works both ways. He could text me. I'll text him. Forget all that shit, man. Even on social media, I have a lot of people that I were friends with that I've lost touch with. But if I see him on LinkedIn, I see him on Facebook, I don't care if I see him anywhere, I leave a comment. I like them. I don't play those stupid games. And I think a lot of us do. But when you're older, I'm just going to say, because my parents are getting older, and even my grandparents are older, I notice a lot of them, as they get older, they lose a lot of friendships. Not just only because people pass away, but because we kind of get stuck just with less people, which is understandable, just being around less people, maybe just being around more family. But I could assure you, you have a lot of friends out there, most likely, regardless what age you are, that would probably love to spend time with you. You just got to reach out to them. All right? That's what I'm doing, and actually tonight I'm going out to meet a bunch of friends, rooftop in Winter Garden. We're getting nuts over there, and then we're going to go to a brewery, a bunch of us, and then we're going to head probably to a French cafe place. And I will wrap it up with this officially. The one thing that I do cherish in my life is my friendships with my oldest, closest friends. There's no question about that. But also, don't be afraid to make new friends. I don't care if you're a girl, that could go for men or women. Or in women, it could be with a guy or a girl, whatever, or couples. Building new friendships is amazing. But I think a lot of us, as we get older again, are afraid to do that. I don't know if we don't want people in our lives, or we want to mind our own business, or whatever the hell it is, but meet new people, have different discussions, especially not the same type of people maybe that you've always hung out with. We kind of hang out now, especially in Florida, with all different groups of people that have nothing to do with what I've ever done in the past. All different nationalities, and I've always done that. I hang out with all different diverse type of people. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, I don't give a shit, whatever the hell you are. I don't care where you're from. Foreigners, everything, immigrants, whatever the case may be for me. I just love learning from others. And I love building new friendships. That doesn't mean I'm always going to be with them. But at that point in time in my life, I just love enjoying time with them. And that may be something, too, that you may consider. So I'm going to wrap it up there. I wish everyone the best.